Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. My name is Micah Matthews. I'm one of the marketing directors here at Messer Financial Group. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for taking the time out of their day to join us this morning for our second part of our three-part series with Manhattan Life's Victory Series product. We believe that there is a huge opportunity in this market. It is the perfect alternative to the ACA or even an addition to the ACA. And after the webinar, I think that you're going to see just how valuable this plan can be for your clients. I'm also joined by Mike Binke. He is the creator of this plan. And not only did he create it, he also used it, and he's going to show you some great examples of just how it works and how it can be beneficial to the clients. Obviously, with the elimination of the ACA penalty, there is a huge opportunity for those that are relatively healthy or ones that are not subsidized. So a lot of people are looking for things that are guaranteed issue and things like that for the under 65 market that is a little more affordable. So we're always trying to find value to our clients, and at the end of the day, we always want to do what's in their best interest. And I think after this webinar and after the third part in 2 weeks, you guys will have a good understanding of just how that would fit. Now, just some few items real quick to go over before I turn it over to Mike. One is this product is a just-in-time product, which means that they do not finalize your appointments until you submit your first piece of business. So you may want to hold off if you don't have business to submit immediately until you have something ready before you actually submit the appointment request, because there's, I believe, 45 days they'll hold that request until you have to re-request it anyway. So again, you might want to hold off until you actually have some business to write before you submit the paperwork to be appointed. But other than that, this is going to be a great value for you and something that you're definitely going to want to add to your portfolio. So with that, I know everybody's time is precious. We want to save you as much as possible. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Mike Binke, and we'll get this webinar started. So thank you, everyone, again. Mike, it's all yours.
Thanks, Micah. Good morning. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. What I want to start with, there were a number of people who have indicated that they, for one reason or another, weren't able to attend the prior session. I don't want to bore those of you who were here to death, but we're going to have about a 10-minute quick review of the information we covered in the first training because I think it's relatively important. Conceptually, we wanted to ask ourselves a very simple question: are these limited benefit plans really worth our attention? And to do that, we looked at a real-life claim. It happened to be my real life that the claim pertained to. Go back through it fairly quickly. I had an 8-day hospital stay in September of 17 for the results of brown recluse spider bite. Nailed me pretty good. Introduced flesh-eating bacteria, had a lot of problems with it. It was a pretty substantial claim. Real quick, go through a side-by-side comparison of what the Victory Series would have paid had I had it at the time. Now, I did have the top supplement series plan, but I also own Blue Cross Silver plan in South Carolina. So laying them right down beside each other, here's the comparison. The monthly premium for Blue Cross was right at $9,300 a year, or 3 times the premium for the deluxe. There's a $5,700 deductible with Blue Cross. We don't have any deductible with deluxe. There's no out-of-pocket with the deluxe. It's first dollar benefits, any doctor, any hospital. The total bill was $43,833, which was repriced by the Blue Cross PPO to $22,968. That's almost exactly 50%. That number is important because we'll come back to that later. Blue Cross paid $16,268.71. Deluxe would have paid for over $47,000. But just for the devilment of it, we looked at a hypothetical larger claim for $200,000. And we went through the steps. Contrast it to the Blue Cross. The original cost, $200,000. Multi-plan PPO repricing. We're not going to give it a 50% repricing. We're going to give it a 35% repricing because I believe that some element of conservatism is probably appropriate in these cases. Let's err to the side of caution. Could it be better than that? Yes. But we can almost guarantee 35% repricing. That's $70,000, brings our exposure down to $130,000. Caris 360 is included with every Victory Series product. These are patient advocates. By the time they get in, it's very common for Caris to chew another 20% off the bill, but we're only going to use 10, a conservative 10, or $13,000, bringing our exposure down to $117,000. The routine cash discount for paying off a bill like that is 15%. 15% of $117,000 is $18,450. Now we owe under $100,000. Deluxe would pay $87,000, leaving $11,550. But are we really $11,550 out of pocket? The difference in premium between those two plans is $6,861. Now our exposure is $4,689, which is already less than we'd expect to have with any conceivable ACA plan until you factor in there's no out-of-pocket, which you'd have with an ACA plan. So if you can take a $200,000 bill, spend 8 days in the hospital, or rather 9 days and 8 nights in the hospital, and wound up with $2,000 in your pocket, that's not too shabby. The net cost is less than you could expect with any ACA plan in this particular situation. So, are limited benefit plans worthy of our attention? Sure looks like it. So question number 2. Since these type of plans appear to be worthwhile and have merit and deserve a place in our portfolio, which one should I sell? Well, we took a look at everybody really in the industry. And there's some fine companies here. Some of them are brand new. They're just sticking their toe in the water of the limited benefit plan. Some of them have been around for a while. You wouldn't expect the brand new ones to be able to hold their own with a company like ours who's been doing it for 15 years. But here's what we got. The who's who of limited benefit plans. That says everybody in the industry who has a plan that fancies themselves strong enough to stand on their own 2 feet. In other words, not to supplement or augment another type of coverage. And there they go. And when you look at them, had a little breakdown with the sound for a second. Deluxe shows very, very well. Here's another claim. Hospital confinement, heart surgery, only 2 days in ICU and only 6 days. This sometimes takes 14 days. But if you compare the benefits of the various plans, you see that our product there at the top shows as well as all of the big boys right at the very top of the claims paid list. So what about the premium cost? Here are the premiums that it would cost with these respective plans for a 29-year-old non-tobacco smoking female. I think you'll see that we show pretty well. Let's get a little older. Here's a 38-year-old middle-aged person. Only one plan showing less expensive than us. And Nat Gen has done a fantastic job with their Foundation Health. They are the most recent, well, the second most recent retooled product. They're the first company up there, other than us, that have actually gone in and made some significant improvements to their plan, and I applaud them for that. And for folks in good enough health to qualify, which are many, That's an excellent plan to consider, particularly when you're younger, under 40. You get up to middle age, things look a little bit different. There's First Choice Deluxe at the top, and in some situations, a third of the cost of some competitors. And by the time you get to the upper end of the spectrum, it's not even close. So we look pretty sporty in the payments side. We look pretty sporty on the low premium side. You combine the two, and you're hard pressed to come close. We're among the best or the very best in both categories every time. Now, is there anything else to consider? How about underwriting? With one exception, other than us, the plans up there require medical underwriting. So there are kick-out questions. There are medical conditions which would make your client ineligible. There are even, in certain situations, occupational and avocational questions that would kick them out. And our program is guaranteed issue. Now, we don't have to worry about pre-X conditions with ACA plans anymore. These limited benefit plans are different. Some of them are fairly aggressive in their underwriting requirements. A significant number of uninsurable conditions. Most of them have a fairly liberal build chart height weight. Some of them are rather tight. Very few are actually guaranteed issue. So remember that on top of everything else, not only are we among the very strongest plans and the lowest premium in most cases, but we're guaranteed issue. So that's sort of the trifecta. They're also guaranteed renewable to the policy anniversary after attained age 70 or until they're eligible for Medicare. If your client doesn't become eligible for Medicare, you write somebody with an ITIN number that comes over here in their 50s and they never become eligible for Medicare, they're able to keep this plan until their attained age, the birthday after attained age 70, policy anniversary rather. First choice plans, this is very important, are age banded. Used to be one size fits all, which wasn't too fair to the 25-year-old, but we now have 3 age bands, 18 to 39, 40 to 59, and 60 to 65. There are no loads for sex, build, height, weight, smoking status, none. If Manhattan ever raises an in-force rate, which, by the way, we've never done, it'll be by class, and no individual policyholder can be singled out for any reason. And we've never terminated a policy, never increased the rate on an in-force policy, never increased the rates going forward with a plan of insurance. We've introduced new, even more competitive plan designs, which is exactly what we're doing now with the Victory Series. Compared to some of the most popular plans currently being sold in the marketplace, we don't have any trend. There is no 3% rate at which we increase rates each year. We do not increase the rates as clients get older, and we do not even increase the rate as they enter a new age bracket. Our first age bracket, for example, is 18 to 39. If somebody who's 38 years old buys our plan in 2 years, they're going to be 40 in that second age bracket. They will not experience a rate increase because of that change in bracket. First Choice Deluxe represents the strongest defined benefit product in the limited benefit arena. Basic, our middle plan, is a very powerful yet relatively inexpensive plan, which can be used to augment a Christian sharing ministry program, can work in conjunction with a short-term major medical program to create a first dollar package, normally with no exposure for an average hospital confinement. And our bridge, the small plan, can be used in conjunction with any ACA qualified plan to reduce or often eliminate the out-of-pocket costs associated with an average period of hospital confinement. So the only people who really need to look at FirstChoice are the ones who have tremendous coverage, no coverage, or something in between. FirstChoice Deluxe is consistently the top of claims examples, among the lowest, often the lowest premium cost, and always the easiest plan to qualify for in the industry. It's appropriately age-banded, has no plan mechanism for rate increases from trend, attained age, or entering a new age bracket, and pays among the highest commissions in the industry. So it works as a great product for you and your clients. Speaking of you, real quick, I wanted to work something into the conversation. Not many companies still have incentive trips, and ours are absolutely incredible. In 2012, we went to Madrid and Barcelona. 2013, we went to Paris and London. In 2014, we went to Switzerland. 2015, we went to Prague and Berlin. 2016, we were going to Rome and Venice, but thank you, terrorists. We changed at the last minute and went to Hawaii and Aspen, Colorado. In 2017, went to Tahiti and Grand Cayman. In 2018, wonderful week at Laguna Beach. And our Chairman's Club spent a week in Portugal. This year, Montage Deer Valley in Utah for our President's Club, extremely easy to qualify for. And our big trip is to Austria. So, what I want to do is to begin the technical element and go into brass tacks of the Victory Series. There's some contact information. If you want to look at the details, agent guide, support documentation, the traditionally, and many of you have done a lot of business with us over the past 8 years with FirstChoice, the website has been the one that you see on the screen here in the lower right-hand corner, firstchoicegi.com. Currently, the Victory Series information is on the BMC website, which is www.bmcagencyinc.com. FirstChoice is the name that we have given to our package of defined benefit health plans underwritten by Manhattan Life. In Florida, we use Family Life and marketed by you folks through affiliation with BMC Agency. They're primarily intended to provide quality alternatives to qualified ACA health insurance, but we also augment ACA plans to reduce or eliminate coverage. And we have a middle-of-the-road plan design, as I say, that can be used with the Christian Cheering Ministry or a short-term major medical to have a dynamite package. When you use them in conjunction with another plan, either a short-term major medical or an ACA plan, even the smallest bridge plan gives your client the reasonable expectation that they'll be able to leave the hospital after a period of average hospital confinement, owing little or nothing in the way of out-of-pocket costs. Lots of folks find it difficult to use an ACA plan. It's either unavailable, unaffordable, or just unattractive. If you've got to give up, if you can afford a plan, but you have to go on a rice and water diet to do it, it's probably not very attractive to you. My wife and I, Laura turned 65. The last year, she and I were both on our ACA plan. We paid $23,000 just for the major medical. That's before the FirstChoice and our cancer plans and the other things that we keep. We're blessed to be able to do that. Not everybody can. So there really need to be alternatives out there, and we think, the best of them. Due to a recent court ruling, FirstChoice plans are available as supplements to other non-qualified plans or even as standalone plans. And when I mentioned that court ruling, there was one company and one company alone in our industry that sued the government, specifically Health and Human Services, over their ruling that you and I could not sell a limited benefit plan to anyone who did not already have at least a qualified plan or minimal coverage under the ACA. Well, we petitioned some other companies to join us in the lawsuit, got absolutely no help at all, went ahead with it anyway. Manhattan sued the government and won. The government appealed, and we won on appeal. The government chose not to appeal to the Supreme Court, which was the last chance. And that's why that long list of companies that we looked at a moment ago is even able to market product in this arena, because Manhattan took the fight to the government and won. So now your sales to your clients and your choice of companies exists because of the work that Manhattan did for us, and I personally am very appreciative of it. Victory Series remains guaranteed issue for individuals gainfully employed for an average of 27 hours a week or more. The primary insured has to work 27 hours a week. There is no working requirement for the spouse or the children. And when you're filling out the application, just as a reminder, self-employed people are fine, but self-employed is not an occupation. Self-employed is a condition. I'm self-employed, but what do you do? Do you dig ditches? Do you perform heart surgery? What is your actual occupation? And you need to do it 27 hours a week in order to be eligible for guaranteed issue consideration. Now, most pre-existing conditions, and all of the pre-existing conditions that are not permanently excluded, we'll cover that in a second, will be covered after 12 months automatically from the effective date of the policy. In order to allow us to continue to provide the highest quality coverage possible, we are now going to feature permanent exclusions on a very few extremely serious pre-existing conditions. Now, we don't think that people with these conditions really need to be involved with limited benefit plans. They are extremely important. They need to get the best coverage that they can. And fortunately, all three of these conditions qualify for disability. They are cystic fibrosis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and chronic kidney disease. Now, we'll continue to issue policies to individuals that have these conditions. Coverage for these conditions only will be permanently excluded at policy issue. Now, why would somebody want to buy a policy if they knew that this pre-existing condition would never be covered? Quite simply, there are a lot of things that can go wrong with people besides these. Just because you have cystic fibrosis doesn't mean you're immune to a heart attack or cancer or a stroke. So if somebody had one of these conditions and a qualified plan, they still might want to buy our bridge very cost effectively to protect themselves from the exposure that they'd have for any of a myriad of other conditions that they could easily have. Very important. Effective with the Victory Series, going forward, we will no longer pay a benefit for non-complicated normal childbirth. We were the last company in the industry to do that, It was a point of anti-selection for us. The only business that we got because of that was business that we didn't want. And frankly, while it might have worked out great for a few young mothers, it kept us from offering the level of coverage that we otherwise would. So we've now joined virtually every other company in the industry by no longer paying a benefit for non-complicated vaginal delivery. We will and do pay the claims for C-sections or other complications associated with childbirth. Another new change. For the first time with FirstChoice, Victory Series will feature age banding. Now, those are the three age bands: 18 to 39, 40 to 59, and 60 to 65. Once issued, the guaranteed renewable policies will not have a rate change based upon either attained age or entering a new age bracket. So you're pretty much locked into your rate. The only way a rate can change is if it changes for everyone in your insurance class. Some benefits to the client. We have 3 plan designs. So if you have someone who wants to buy standalone coverage, if they need a little something to fill in the gaps in a qualified plan, or they need a potent policy to work with a short-term or a Christian ministry, you've got it. These plans are guaranteed renewable plans subject to the primary insured working 27 hours a week. What's the working requirement for the spouse if insured? None, and not the children. And keep in mind, this is a policy, not a certificate. Some of you guys have been selling policies since you entered the business because your managers told you about this policy or that policy, and you've never sold a policy. You've actually sold certificates. The difference being, a policy is a contract between the insured and the company directly. A certificate is in relationship to a group master policy between an entity and an insurance company. And if anything breaks that relationship, the certificate is null and void. There are contractual guarantees and strengths to policies much beyond those of certificates, and we are a policy. Guaranteed issue, 27 hours a week, first dollar benefits. We have no deductibles, no co-pays, no co-insurance to satisfy. It's all provider. You can use any doctor, any hospital of your choice. Now, we do include the multi-plan PPO with every one of our plans. What that means is this: if your client stumbles across a multi-plan provider, or if they select a multi-plan provider, then their bill will be eligible for repricing. And that is for conditions that are covered by the policy, for conditions that are not covered by the policy, for conditions that are temporarily excluded by the policy. Everything that's medically necessary is eligible for repricing in that type of relationship. It's not true with major medical, but it's true with limited medical and additional PPO coverage. There's no coordination of benefits. Your FirstChoice benefits are going to be paid in addition to any other coverage that your client might have. If it's another insurance policy, whether it's workman's comp, it doesn't matter. We are going to pay regardless of whatever coverage you might have. There's never any utilization review or pre-authorization. No mother may I, no Simon says, no calling to beg the insurance company for permission to go have treatment. Your treatment for your client is a choice made by them and their doctor, the one that puts hands on them and lays eyes on them and decides what they need. The first we need to know that your client has been hospitalized is when we get the UBO for the claim. Pre-existing conditions. That's a condition for which your client has sought or received medical treatment or attention, taken prescription medicine, or for which an ordinarily prudent person would have done so within the 12 months prior to the effective date of the policy. Those conditions will be covered after 12 months. We have issued policies on people who had cancer and were on chemotherapy at the time they bought the plan. And 12 months later, we've paid benefits for cancer. That's stronger than puppy dog breath. We have no ineligible occupations or avocations. If your client's job, I've said this before, if their job is to jump out of airplanes while defusing bombs, we'll cover them. Now you see the little ampersand up there, the pre-existing conditions covered after 12 months. Remember, there are 3 conditions that, when pre-existing, when these conditions exist at the time of application, we will not cover them in the future. And that's chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, cystic fibrosis, and chronic kidney disease, end-stage renal disease. Now, what are some of the benefits for you as agents? Extremely competitive premiums. Our electronic enrollment platform, featuring mother's maiden name for a signature, is as simple as falling off a log. I mean, there's literally nothing like it in the industry. We pay very high commissions with advances to qualifying agents. And we, of course, have a year-round sales opportunity. Because we fought the fight on your behalf, you can now not only sell these products, but you can do it year-round. We have the incredible incentive trips. We talked about that very quickly. An excellent portfolio of additional products. We have the highest rated cancer plan in the industry. We have a very, very strong first occurrence cancer benefit. Extremely strong, powerful worksite portfolio of additional products. You'll never be embarrassed to show a Manhattan product of any kind. Schedule benefit cancer, lump sum cancer, dental, vision, and hearing is among the very, very best. Health rated chassis, critical illness, we've just pretty much got it all. You might never need another company for supplemental sales. Now, here is how the Victory Series breaks down from a perspective of plan design. We have a daily room benefit up to $300 a day for 365 days with the deluxe plan. Intensive care benefit up to $3,000 a day. That's up to 20 days per period of confinement. No limit to the number of confinements per year or per lifetime. And we pay our intensive care benefit, unlike many of our competitors, we pay it in addition to the daily room benefit. Some pay in lieu of. That's a fancy French way of saying instead of. You pay both with us. Hospital injury indemnity. If your hospital confinement is caused by an accident or an injury, it'll pay up. That says $2,000. It should say $1,000 per day. But that's an additional $1,000 a day up to 365 days. Our first hospital confinement benefit is up to $15,000 for the first annual admission over 6 days. We have a lump sum benefit on day 1 that's also up to $3,000. It's $3,000 with the deluxe plan. Our surgery benefit, we invented the daily surgical benefit. Whenever your client is confined to the hospital and has any kind of surgery, an infected splinter in their finger is surgery, heart transplant is surgery, anything in between. For each day of their hospital confinement, up to 5 days, we'll pay the surgery benefit. So if your client has a $3,000 a day surgical benefit and they go into the hospital on a Monday and they're observed on Tuesday, Wednesday they have a surgical procedure, Thursday they check to make sure that the incision is not infected, and Friday they are discharged they're in the hospital for 5 days. They don't get $3,000 for Wednesday when they had surgery. They get that $3,000 for each and every day of the hospital confinement up to 5. So there's 5 times $3,000 or $15,000 for surgery. And trust me when I tell you that is by far the strongest benefit in the limited benefit industry. Anesthesia is an extra 20%. So when you get $3,000 a day for surgery, you get $600 a day for anesthesia, bringing up the total for a 5-day stay to $18,000. There's an outpatient emergency accident benefit, $500 per accident. That's 4 per primary, 4 for the spouse if insured, and 4 to be shared among the children. First come, first served. We have a brand new diagnostic procedure rider that'll pay up to $500 procedure, up to 4 per insured per year. MRIs, CAT scans, any diagnostic procedure, up to $500. Let's look at an example. In Dallas, Texas, the current cost of a non-contrast MRI is $1,350. That's the retail price. Within our PPO network, multi-plan, that $1,350 procedure is repriced to $550. We would pay $500 of it. If your first medical encounter of the year is a $1,350 MRI, and your client gets off the hook for $50, they should want to kiss you. And that's exactly what happens with our product. We have brought back the outpatient sickness benefit. It's kind of a dollar trading benefit. We did away with it to make claims easier, but you guys clamored that your clients liked it and you liked it, and the next time we made a change, you wanted it back, and you got it. $100 per doctor visit, 4 for the primary insured, 4 for the spouse if insured, and 4 to be shared among the children. And while hospital confined, if your client requires the services of a private duty nursing, if this is ordered by the doctor, sometimes there's a level of care that doesn't quite reach intensive care, but it's a little more than just standard. They can order the services of a private duty nurse, and we will pay $500 a day, up to 30 days per period of confinement. And like everything else, there's no limit to the number of confinements per year or per lifetime. There we go. We brought back the outpatient sickness. Now, there's one caveat to that. If your client needs to see the doctor at 2 o'clock on Saturday morning, chances are he's not at the office. That's when you run down to the ER. Most plans will penalize with either a penalty copay or some other mechanism for penalty. For the client, we do the opposite. We increase that $100 benefit by 50%. So we'll pay $150 at the ER. We'll do that 4 times per person per year. And of course, the diagnostic procedure rider, that's $500 per benefit. We have a variety of room-related elements. Most plans are more simple to understand. Just because they're less complex doesn't mean that they're superior. They're not close. We have a number of different benefits that apply money toward the room. We want to break them down, look at each one so that you can understand how they work and appreciate the strength of them. And that's what we're going to be doing for the next few slides. The base policy itself is referred to as the daily room benefit with all FirstChoice plans. Everything else we talk about is going to be a rider added to that. Now, by rider, it's not optional. These are predetermined packages. They are what they are. There is no mix and match. This is not Brock's candy. buy the bridge comes in its form. The deluxe plan, everything is included. You can't decide you don't want the private duty nursing. It is what it is. They are fixed, not subject to modification. With all First Choice plans, the daily room benefit will pay the benefit for up to 365 days of continuous confinement. So as long as your client stays in the hospital, it'll pay the benefit for up to 365 days. No lifetime max on the number of times they can be confined. If your client goes home, comes back to the hospital, another period of 365 potential days begins. The lump sum benefit happens on the very first day of hospital confinement in any calendar year. It doesn't pay anything else. This particular benefit, for the balance of that year, it'll pay it for every insured in the policy, and it'll be available for everybody again next year. In the deluxe plan, the lump sum benefit is $3,000. No lifetime max on the number of years in which the lump sum benefit can be paid. So on the first day of hospital confinement, you get $300 from the daily room benefit with deluxe. You also get $3,000 from the lump sum benefit, so that's $3,300 on day one. Now the first hospital confinement benefit has changed just a little bit from the way it worked with the Patriot series, the supplement series, and the original series of First Choice. It's available once per year, just like before, and is paid for the first period of hospital confinement, just like before. And it's paid out over the first 6 days, just like before. The difference is we don't pay a benefit on the very, very first day any longer. That benefit has been moved to day 2. The reason we've done it that way is we can now use the lump sum benefit and the first hospital confinement benefit to make $3,000 available on each of days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, in addition to the daily room benefit. So you don't have to explain to your client why there's a little dip there in day 2. You explain why, well, we pay this amount on day 1 and this on day 2 and then back to this on day 3. And at that point, your eyebrows on your client are touching. And you spend the next 10 minutes trying to explain something that you'd rather not have to go into detail. You're not hiding anything, but it was just confusing. Well, it isn't any longer. Just like the other benefits, the first hospital confinement has no lifetime max in the number of times that you can go into the hospital, the number of years in which you or any member or every member of your family that's insured could go into the hospital and receive the benefit. It's a $5,000 maximum benefit with the bridge plan, $10,000 with the basic, and $15,000 with the deluxe plan paid over the first 6 days. And it does it like this. No benefit on the first day, $1,000 on day 2, $1,000 again on day 3 for a total of 2. So over 6 days, you receive $5,000. Double this for the basic plan and triple it for the deluxe plan. So you add everything we've talked about together. The daily room benefit, which is $300 every day up to 365 days. The lump sum benefit you only get on the first day. First hospital confinement you don't get on the first day, but you get it on the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth day. So your cumulative benefits for the room are monstrous compared to the competition. 7-day stay is $20,100 for the room alone. We haven't talked about intensive care. We haven't talked about surgery. We haven't talked about anesthesia or anything else. When intensive care is necessary, deluxe will pay an additional $3,000 per day. That's in addition to the numbers we looked at a second ago, on top of. And hospital injury, if there's an accident that causes the confinement, that pays an extra $1,000 a day up to 365 days. So total potential room benefits: $300 a day for the room. The lump sum is $3,000. First hospital confinement is $3,000 a day for over 6 days, on days 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So while it's not very likely to happen, the potentiality on this little plan is your client could get $1,279,200. And if anybody's out there laughing, we actually paid a $678,000 claim last year. So quit. Private duty nursing. All first choice plans feature private duty nursing, and with the deluxe, it's $500 per day for up to 30 days. So there's potential for $15,000 just for the little additional care that your client may need while hospital confined. Once again, there's no limit to the number of times that we can apply this benefit. Your client can receive it annually. Well, the only limit is the number of times 30 days will fit into a calendar. But they can go in every year as many times as the doctor wants them in the hospital. If they order private duty nursing, we'll pay that $500 a day for up to 30 consecutive days each time they're confined. Our daily surgical benefit. There have been a few companies that have copied us, but it was totally unique at one time. We were the only company doing it. We invented it. Because it doesn't matter what the daily surgical benefit is for. It doesn't matter what the surgical procedure is. It's not a schedule. You either have surgery or you do not. And if you have surgery while hospital confined, we'll pay the daily surgical benefit for each day of confinement up to a maximum of 5 days per confinement. If you compare the daily surgical benefit to the RBRVS, that's the Resource-Based Relative Value Scale, or colloquially speaking, the Medicare discount rate, which many plans use, you find that our daily surgical schedule can pay up to 29 times as much for certain procedures. 29 times as much. That's not a typo. As RBRVS. So it sounds real good. If you read it in a brochure, we'll pay up to 2 times the RBRVS or 3 times the Medicare rate. But it's a fraction of what First Choice pays. The daily surgical benefit that we're talking about is for surgery while hospital confined. Now, we do have an outpatient surgical benefit that we'll talk about a little later. Any one or more surgical procedures, every day of the confinement will receive the benefit up to a maximum of 5 days. Here's an example. Deluxe plan clients confined for 7 days. Surgical procedures performed on Wednesday only, or any other day of confinement. We're going to pay the benefit, $3,000, for 5 days of confinement, or $15,000. Then surgery is an extra, anesthesia is an extra 20% above and beyond on top of that. 4-day confinement. Surgical procedures performed on one of those days, $16,000 with the deluxe plan. 10 days of confinement. Heart bypass procedures performed on one of those days. The daily surgical benefit will be paid for 5 days of confinement. They were in the hospital for 10. Why did we pay it for 5? Because 5 is the maximum that we'll pay that benefit for, up to 5 days of confinement. And it varies by the plan selected. Same slide. The annual maximum benefit for surgery is $50,000. It's $3,000 per day with the deluxe, $2,000 a day for the basic, and $1,000 a day for the bridge plan. Now, I promise to come to this. If your client requires outpatient surgery, in order to be eligible for our benefit, it must happen at an ambulatory surgical center. This is a freestanding surgical facility that does not have routine provision for overnight stay. If they have this scheduled and performed at an ambulatory surgical center, they get exactly half of what they would have gotten in the hospital. So under the deluxe plan, $3,000 a day at an ambulatory surgical center would pay $1,500 plus the anesthesia. So that would be $1,800 for a same-day procedure. Still, no limits on the number of times this benefit can be used. And there's anesthesia, which is simply more increase of 20% above and beyond on top of the amount paid for the surgery. Emergency accident benefit, $500 on the deluxe plan, up to $4 for the covered primary insured, $4 for the spouse if they're covered under the policy, and $4 to be shared between the children. And we recommend very, very strongly that your clients look at the paid plan for additional accident benefits if they're buying a limited benefit plan. It's very, very cost effective. Guess what? No lifetime max on this benefit either. Your client buys a bridge plan to go along with their ACA qualified metallic plan. They have a 3-day hospital confinement with surgery. Here's what they can expect to receive. The daily room benefit is going to be $50 a day times $350. First hospital confinement benefit, surgery, anesthesia, $5,750. That'll wipe out the vast majority of any exposure from any ACA plan they might have. They bought the little teeny bridge plan to accompany their ACA qualified metallic plan. Claim is for a 7-day hospital confinement with surgery, no days in ICU. It plays out like this. $350 for the room, $50 times 7, first hospital confinement, 5 days of surgery, 5 days of anesthesia, $11,350. Question: are there any qualified ACA plans that have exposure of more than $11,350? Answer: by law, no, there are not. It wouldn't qualify under the law if it did. We buy a basic plan. This is our middle strength policy to accompany a Christian sharing ministry plan. They have a 4-day hospital confinement with surgery. What would the basic plan pay in addition to anything and everything they got from the Christian sharing ministry? 4 days at $200 a day is $800. The first hospital confinement benefit is $6,000. $2,000 for the lump sum. $2,000 a day times 4 days for the surgery, or $8,000. $1,600 for anesthesia. There's $18,400 to augment their Christian sharing ministry plan. The deluxe plan, our most complete plan, only coverage the client thinks they can afford. They have a 7-day hospital confinement with surgery, no diagnostic test. Remember, diagnostic tests would be $500 a piece on top of this. Benefits received would be 7 days at $300 a day is $2,100. Your first hospital confinement, $15,000 over that first 6 days. Lump sum benefit is $3,000 on the first day. Surgery is $3,000 a day times the first 5 days of confinement, $15,000. Anesthesia is 20% more, $38,100. And there's no intensive care. Intensive care would blow that payment up significantly higher. This little plan can pay $678,000, which we did. And if anybody wonders what it would take for that, imagine a couple who adopted twins who weren't in the best of shape and then got pregnant with twins who had complications. And at one point, we had all 5 of them. We had mama and the 4 babies in the hospital at the same time. That one stung, but that's why you have insurance. Please understand the importance of purchasing additional cancer or critical illness coverage when making a sale to your client in the limited benefit marketplace. These are statistics from the American Cancer Society, not insurance company propaganda. This information is coming from the American Cancer Society, not Manhattan Life. 1 male in 2 will develop cancer in their lifetime. 1 girl in 3. 3 out of 4 families will have an immediate member with cancer, and 65% of the cost of treating cancer is not covered by even major medical plans. Deductibles, coinsurance, copays, lost wages, travel, accommodations, and a whole lot more. Everybody should have a good cancer plan. And the fact that Manhattan's cancer plan is rated best in the industry is just convenient. Please take the little extra time to become familiar with that coverage and to quote it when you're talking to your clients. You're going to see that there's information in our sales brochure about the paid accident plan and the CP4000 Cancer Care Plus plan, and it's in the brochure. It requires additional premium, but it's in the brochure for a reason. We think it's essential coverage, and we recommend that you show it every time. All of our products now, all of the FirstChoice products, all the deluxe, the basic, and the bridge feature the multi-plan PPO. RX, our discount drug program. Teledoc is included with all of our plans now. So that 3 o'clock trip to the ER we talked about, maybe you don't need to make that trip. Maybe you can Skype with the doctor and let them see what your child looks like and have an alternative to that trip to the ER in the middle of the night. But it comes, and there is no cost to utilize that program. 24/7, 365 days a year. CARES 360 are patient advocates. They will help your client determine the facility that's least expensive for their needs. They can help your clients research to see the place that has the best, quickest recovery or the least complications. Regardless of what your client is trying to achieve, whether it be low cost or good outcome, CARES can help them do it, and they are incredible at it and have been for a long, long time, and that service is now provided as a part of our program. We're not going to go into all of the details. Most of you are familiar with CARES, and if not, it's pretty easy to figure out, and information is available to you too. We think we've given you pretty good justification. Very, very high claims payment compared to the competition. Very, very low premium. Very high compensation. We make a case for we're the best in class product in the market. And we've been doing it longer than anybody else, so why shouldn't we be good? Our dental, vision, and hearing is an industry leader. Cancer Care Plus, by cancer, I'm not a cancer plan expert, but I'm telling you, I know some cancer plan experts, and if you know one, you ask them, they'll tell you our cancer plan is as good as the best and better than the rest. compensation is incredible. Our trips are second to none. All we need to finish the equation is you. And hopefully, we've made a compelling case for why Manhattan and First Choice belong in your portfolio. And we're not going to go through the incentive trips again. So I'd like to open it back up for any questions that anybody may have.
Thank you, Mike. That was a lot of really great information. So just to summarize a little bit here, so you've got a product that will cover pre-existing conditions after 12 months, that's guaranteed issue, that's affordable, and can basically be either a additional product to a policy that they may already have in force, but also can be a great standalone plan. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
And uncapped benefits.
Correct.
So from a client's perspective, it almost becomes a no-brainer to have something like this. From an agent's perspective, you've got top-level commissions, great incentive trips, and extremely easy to submit business. Is that right?
That's pretty much it.
I don't know, guys, but to me, that sounds like a pretty good deal. I know everybody's trying to save money out there. So if you can come to your client with something like this to show them and give them an example, like Mike said, and show them the value of it, I think that you're going to have a client for life. And being that the client will not have any rate increases because of age or anything like that, your retention is going to be extremely high as well. So just keep that in mind. If they think it's good now, they're going to think it's good 5 years from now because nothing has changed with it. And the past pretty much proves that. One question here was, will this webinar be available later? And the answer to that is yes. We will be posting this on our website at messerfinancial.com under Agent Resources. All of our webinars are there, and we post them every Tuesday. So this Tuesday, this webinar will be posted, and we also will have part 3 of this series in 2 weeks. Another question here that I have is any of this information on the Victory series, is that going to be on the FirstChoice website? Because I know that you used to have a FirstChoice website that was just dedicated to that plan. Is that no longer available, or what's the issue with that?
Here's what's going on. Because there are certain states that have not yet approved the Victory series, we still are marketing the prior supplement series in some states. All of that information is still available on the FirstChoiceGI.com website, the one that your agents are familiar with going to. But if you go there and you look for the Victory series information, you won't find it. That is currently located on our BMC website. That's www.bmcagencyinc.com. And everything from the agent guide to sales brochures to a lot of additional information, support information for this. Plus, anytime you have a question, you can call BMC. We're there to support you guys in any way that we can. I mean, not that they shouldn't call Messer, but if you can't get the answer that you need or somebody's unavailable, don't feel like it's a chain of command. Don't feel like you can't just ring us up and ask any question that you have. And that number, if I can give it to them, is 800-357-2342. So to recap, call us anytime you need anything. If you're looking for information on the existing or prior supplement series, that's at FirstChoiceGI.com. And if you want information on the new Victory series, that's at BMCAgencyInc.com.
That's great. And just, I mean, really, guys, I just really want to emphasize the fact that if you're looking for something that is guaranteed issue, uncapped benefits, extremely affordable, will protect the family, and can even pay out better than an ACA plan, while also, to appeal to your greed side, pay high commissions and take you on incentive trips. I mean, I don't know of anything else out there that's quite like this. So again, if you want to get appointed, contact Messer Financial. We will get you set up. There's always somebody here that's available. You can speak to somebody that's in producer support. You can ask for a marketer. Whatever you need, we will absolutely get you all the supplies and anything else. So contact us today to get appointed with them. Try to start thinking about who you could pair this plan with, and also write some business so that we can get you appointed and finalized right away. So that looks like it as far as questions go. Again, guys, I want to thank everyone for attending. We will have our part 3 of this in 2 weeks on Wednesday at 9 o'clock again. And again, this webinar will be posted on our website this Tuesday. So if you want to go back and watch it later, you're more than welcome. Mike, is there anything that you want to say in parting?
Just thank everybody for their valuable time. I'm honored to be able to talk with you, and God bless.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. Bye-bye.